Hi, Scorpio, and I want to welcome you to your 2024 yearly reading. So, what I have for you in front of me are 12 cards, and each card is going to represent one of the months of the year. And so, this is going to give you an idea of what you'll be dealing with throughout the year for each month. So, in January, you have the Six of Swords. In February, you have the Hermit card. In March, you have the Page of Swords. In April, you have the Five of Wands. And in May, you have the Nine of Pentacles. And finally, for June of 2024, you have the Emperor. In July, second half of the year, you have the Seven of Swords. In August, you have the Fool. In September, you have the Seven of Cups. And in October, you have the Ace of Wands. November, you have the Four of Wands. And finally, in December, you have the Eight of Swords. All right, so let's begin in January. In January, you have the Six of Swords and reversed. So let's take a peek at that in the upright position. Now, if you look at this card carefully, this woman and child are being carried away taken away to what looks like a more safe environment for themselves. And you can see the water over here that is sort of rough, and this gondolier has taken them. I call him the gondolier man. He's taken them over to these smooth waters over here. So I see that in January there is, a possibility that Scorpio, you're maybe thinking of maybe getting yourself to a safer place. You may be thinking of leaving some situation you're in, whether that's with a partner, whether that's with family members, whether that's with, friends. There's something here where you're leaving something to get to a safer place, to get to somewhere where, a lot of times it's where we can heal. And this healing journey, this shadow work journey that we're all on, can sometimes require us to get to a place where we can be quiet, we can be still, and sometimes it can actually mean where we need to be safe from certain people. But this has come in reverse for you. And so I'm seeing that there's a real resistance here, and maybe it's just a real difficulty to doing it, and sometimes you need to reach out to people to get help, to therapists to help you sometimes to make that move, to let go of this relationship or to let go of these people or this situation that you're in. But there is a resistance to doing it in January. In February, it looks like you're in a position where you're able to go inwards. And the Hermit card is the first major arcana here that's coming up for you. And so this is significant because this is really when we decide to, and sometimes we actually go into isolation, and we need to on this journey sometimes, but this is really the card to me, it's the shadow work card where you actually decide, you know what, I'm going to go inwards. I'm going to, shed some light on what exactly is going on with me in this situation I'm in, or my life, or there's a period of time in February where you're going to be looking at really going inwards and doing some deep healing work. In March, the Page of Swords comes out for you. And for me, the Page of Swords is a very, very young part of us, like, 4, 5, 6 years old. And if you know children, there's one thing about children is that they're very authentic. They're very much themselves. And so this child right here, this inner child in you, there's a child part of you. There's a part of you that really wants to become authentic again, to find out who they are, and really to get at the truth of, maybe some of your situations from childhood, from adolescence, and just, find out what some of these belief systems are, maybe what some of these conditionings, these patterns, these mental belief systems that you have. And so this inner part really is calling you. It's a wanting you to connect with this inner part, this younger part of you, to maybe journal. Some people, I myself journal from my inner parts, and I talk to them, and they talk to me, and they tell me some things that I never knew about myself. So that might be a consideration for you. In April of 2024, sometimes when we're deep into this journey and deep into our healing, and trying to find out about ourselves and things about ourselves, sometimes we can hit these periods where we get into real conflict. And this is what I call the ego conflict here, is where we really start to compare ourselves to other people. And this is a 5, so it always involves, and when you're talking about ones, you're always, there's always conflict going on. And this is where we really can, get down on ourselves, because we start comparing ourselves, and that could be just going on the internet, on Instagram, social media, and, YouTube, and any of these places that we go to just for a little, a hit of what I call like an ego hit, of where you just kind of think, well, I'm just not good enough. And so you may be going through some, struggling with some unworthiness in that month. And in May, you have the 9 of Pentacles. And the 9 of Pentacles is really a card about abundance. And in this particular case, this particular noble, he's involved in putting a lot of commitment and a lot of time into this particular, into falconry, into training this falconry here. And so, and it's bringing this person a lot of abundance. And so I'm wondering if, you're going to be finding yourself in a position where you're committing a lot of time, a lot of your energy into something in May next year, whether that's, a job you're working on, or maybe you're, it could have something to do with your health, or it's just something where, there's a lot of commitment on your part, and a lot of time and effort is going into this, right? And maybe it will be abundant, but there's going to come a time, and I can see it coming up in the second half of the year, where you're sort of going to question, maybe, is this all worth it? So there is abundance here, but it's definitely something that is going to be taking a lot of your time and your energy up. In that month. So in June, the Emperor card comes out, and the Emperor card is, another major arcana card, and this is the male aspect, the masculine aspect, I want to say. It's sometimes, when the Fool goes through his journey, he meets the Emperor, he meets the Empress, and these are sort of like parental figures in our life. And I'm wondering, especially because you've been going inwards a bit here and doing maybe a bit of inner child work, I'm wondering if the Emperor is coming up here, because the Emperor represents the rules of society, certain, I mean, obviously our parents are going to give us the rules, the rules where of obedience and what we're supposed to do and not supposed to do. And this particular emperor is really rigid. I mean, it's the number 4. It's a very stable, rigid number. And it's I mean, look at the chair he's sitting in. It's cement, and he's almost becoming his chair because it's so old. These rules of obedience, these rules of law, these laws are just so old. And so I'm wondering if you're starting to question in June some of the rules or the obedience laws that you've been taught by people growing up. And maybe this is coming up for you, like I said, because you're starting to get in touch with your inner child, and figuring out, maybe you're questioning, why am I following these rules anymore? Because they're so old and stale. And yeah, so July comes about, and here is the 7 of Swords. Very interesting card that follows the Emperor, because I want you to look closely at this card right here. And it looks like this particular individual is getting away with, stealing, running away with these 5 swords, these 5 sharp swords that he is holding in his hand. Now, quite dangerous situation here. And 7 is a number of introspection, self-awareness, and our swords are our belief systems, our mental thoughts, our patterns, our conditionings, sort of similar to what this Emperor card that you were dealing with last month, where you're starting to look at these obedience laws. And so this particular individual is stealing, running away with someone else's belief systems and patternings and conditionings. And I think you're going to start to realize that, you know what? These don't belong to me anymore. I ran away with these when I was younger. I mean, they were essentially given to you and handed to you, and you adopted them because you didn't know any better. You were very, very young, right? So I think you're in this month, you're starting to look at some of these belief systems you have, and you're questioning them, saying, are these mine? Like, I mean, I believe this, but is it really what I want, or is it what someone else believes for me to be true? So yeah, so it looks like you're on the hunt here for some truth about yourself. This is what the 2024 looks like to me, is you're really trying to find out, start to question some of your beliefs that you've grown up with. And get the Fool, which is very impressive, because this Fool comes about when we need to make some sort of a change, right? We need to make some sort of a leap of faith here. And it wouldn't come out unless it really wanted you to start to trust the universe, right? To really begin to trust the universe, and have faith that the direction you're going in is the direction you're supposed to be going in. So it sounds like you're moving into some sort of new direction here. And the universe, the Fool, is here to say, listen, the universe has your back, and have faith and trust that where you're wanting to head or take your life. Remember, you were deciding way back in January to take your life somewhere else here, but there was resistance. So trust that you're doing the right thing and you're on the right path. You're going the right way. In September, 7, another 7, which is very interesting, because you've had this is the first 7 here, so that's 2 7s. Yeah, 7s are like, really a lot of self-awareness going on in 2024 for you. This card is, take a peek at it here. There's, 7 cups here, and he's just looking at these going, oh, wow, look at everything I have. Look at everything I can have. And just a lot of distractions in this individual's life. And I'm just wondering if this is all part of you, looking at your life and questioning it and saying, is this everything here? Is this real? Is this the real thing here? All these lovely distractions I have. And I'm wondering if it could even be like, you could be in a really good job over here with this 9. We said you were doing something that you were spending so much time and energy and commitment into something, and it was fruitful. It was, bringing you, looks like there's abundance there. And I'm wondering if you're getting to a point here in the last part of the year where you're just kind of going, I have all these things, these things in my life that I have, and is this really what I want? Is this really bringing me happiness or joy in my life? And so you're really starting to question, what is real happiness? What is that? And right above that, and it's no surprise or no coincidence here, I should say, that the Page of Swords is right above that card. Because the Page of Swords is the one that's going to, cut through all the bullshit and find out who the real authentic me is. And so this is about really what you're doing. You're questioning so much about yourself, Scorpio, like so much about yourself here. And now you're even starting to really question, is everything really worth it? This abundance that I have in my life? And so it's very interesting. And then in October, you get the Ace of Wands, which is a beautiful gift, a beautiful offer from the universe. And when you get an offer from the universe, when an ace comes out with his hand and offers you something, you need to take it. It's a brand new offer. Now, what is on offer here? What is this wand? What are these growing, budding, what's going on here for you? Well, the wands is a suit about creativity, and in particular, creativity I refer to not so much in like maybe I want to write a book or learn a new language, but it's something where you're taking your life in a brand new direction and something that you want to do. It's not going to be something that Mr. Emperor over here told you, no, you can't do. It's not going to be something that, all these belief systems that you had over here told you that you could or couldn't do. But it's going to be something this time that you want to do, that your young inner part over here maybe has told you that this is what you want to do. This is what you're going to do for you. There's been a lot of introspection here, that you've been working on this really hard for the first part of the year is what's going to happen. And now the universe is saying, here's this one. What do you want to do? I'm giving this to you. It's for you. It's for you to go and find your true purpose. It's for you to find out who you really are and do what you want to do, not what everybody else has told you that you can and can't do. So this is an awesome opportunity and a gift from the universe that you need to grab. And then you get to November, and you've been working so hard. I can see like you're going to really go through, a lot of self-awareness, it looks like, before you get to this point. And when we get to sometimes get through all of that and we start to question the way that we're living our life now and maybe wanting to take it into a new direction, we get to the Four of Wands. And the Four of Wands is, a really nice, stable, people call this a marriage card, and in no way am I going to tell you maybe you're going to get married, but what I'm going to tell you is it's this sort of like, it's a card where we stop and it's a celebration card, right? Because these two individuals right here have left this walled city back here, and they're celebrating that they've left. Now, remember you in January where you wanted to go somewhere, and sometimes we forget the journey that we've taken to get to this point. And I see the journey that you're going to take throughout this year. And so this card is here to say to you, look how far you've come. You have walked out of that wall city over here. You're no longer, sort of trapped or controlled or living by what someone else was telling you need to do. Or so it's like you've broken free here, and you need to look back and say to yourself, look how far I've come, and celebrate that. And you're going to do that many, many times on this journey. Just celebrate how far you've come. And and sometimes we can get so caught up, and these are all swords. And so December comes around, and maybe you're just back in your head again. You're so caught up, and the 8 is sort of a card of opportunities and possibilities, and you have the opportunity here to get free. I think you're feeling really trapped or maybe stressed. I mean, it is the month of December here. Your emotions are quite stagnant, right? Water represents emotions. They're not flowing whatsoever. And I'm not surprised, because you're blindfolded and you can't even see anything here. You have, almost put up this wall for yourself here, and you can't even see that you can walk away from this situation. Sometimes we can get so caught up in our heads and spin in our mind, especially when you've had that. I see a tendency for you to do that, because you have this 5 of Wands that came up earlier, where you can get caught up in your mind and think that you can't get out. And so come December, if that's your situation where you're just so, feeling trapped, feeling stressed, anxious, and all these emotions, these stuck emotions, of hopelessness, maybe you're just feeling like you don't see a way out. I want you to remember that you can walk out of this. There is a way out. There's always a way out. This person can walk away, right? There's always a way out. And so remember again in December how far you've come. Remember that there is a way out for you. There always is. But you have an incredible year ahead for you, Scorpio, and it's going to be I can see that it's going to be a really good year for you, for growing and to really go inwards and become more self-aware of who you are, rather than who people have made you out to be, because you're starting to realize that this isn't me. That's not me. And I can see you really starting to blossom in the end, by the end of 2024. So good luck, Scorpio, and I'll talk soon. Bye-bye.